Good morning, this is John with Universal Aquatics. We are cleaning out a giant koi pond for a customer in Clarkesville, Georgia. So a little bit out of our service area, what we normally do. Normally we stay in the metro area. But anyway, I wanted to give you guys a tour of what we got. All right, so we're starting to get everything set up. Some equipment over here. We've got all these beautiful koi fish. These are some of the nicest koi fish that any of our customers have. We got some tubs set up over here. Pressure washer, some other tubs. We're draining this guy now, filling up our tubs. Gonna put the fish over there. And we are going to get rid of all these excess dying off plants so they can come back fresh and pretty for the spring. We're gonna clean out the wetland filter over here. And there's another biofalls filter over there. So essentially what we're gonna be doing is we're gonna be flushing out all the debris in the very bottom. So we're gonna be cleaning out the filters, checking the pond pumps, making sure that they have the maximum optimal operational flow. We're going to be checking the pond lights, making sure they're all cleaned off and working well. It's a good time of the year to go ahead and flush out all that pond poop and pond scum in the very bottom that the filters just can't take out. So we flush all that stuff out, and then we get the pond ready for the season. All right, so here we have our wetland filter, or some people call it a bog filtration system. Essentially, it's a big area, well, this one's overly sized, but normally it's about 8 by 10, about 5.5 feet deep. We fill that up with assorted size stone and gravel, and healthy little biological microscopic critters attach themselves to the gravel that helps to filter this thing out naturally. So now we're gonna be draining this guy so we can clean it and flush everything out. All right, so this is Adair. We built him the pond here about 3.5 years ago. This is our third clean out. And he wants to share some stuff with you guys about his fish. All right, so here's the question I wanted to ask you. How do you feel about the style of feature that you built? The Aquascape style pond where we have the rocks and the gravel and all the plants and all that stuff, the natural filtration. How do you feel about that?
Oh, absolutely. That's the way I wanted to go. I didn't want the sterile koi pond that, it's just a deep, dark hole and the fish are bored because there's nothing to do. So this way they're constantly hunting, they're nuzzling around in the plants and in the nooks and crannies of the rocks. And when I bring in some new fish, they're always scared. And that way they can find some place to go hide and not get harassed. It's wonderful.
Natural ecosystem.
Yeah, if you build it, they will come.
If you build it, they will come.
Yeah.
I've heard that that line before somewhere. So how do we do, and not just like forget I'm here, okay? How did Universal Aquatics do in building the feature? So what do you think?
Basically let you do it. Oh, it's been fantastic. Everybody up here is amazed.
Were we nice?
Oh, yeah, it's good.
It's like stuff that he and I already know. I'm just sharing it with you guys. So we did what we said we were gonna do, and we just made it up as we went along. We had a starting point and a stopping point, and that was essentially that. We did have some reference photos and some videos of things that we liked. So we just tried to make it, as we saw fit.
Because it created a space that I could, over here, where I could keep my bonsai trees.
And you can see them back in the back over there.
Yeah. So,
huge collection.
So that created a perfect space over there. So, I mean, John's a genius. I mean, he doesn't know it, but he is.
I kind of know it. I think it sometimes, and my wife normally puts me in check, and then, anyway. Okay, all right, let's get back to cleaning. All right, so we're finally getting to the point where we're starting to rinse off some filter pads over here, and we're getting to the point where we got to get out the fish as well. Now the koi fish, it's kind of a quick process. So once we get down to the bottom, we got to kind of go, so we can get them out and get them back into their home as fast as possible. Well, sometimes we find these. All right, so we got this guy emptied out, cleaned, pressure washed. We got all the debris out from the plants, the dying and dead plants. Got all that stuff out so it won't fall down and mess up the water quality for the fish. Now we're gonna get the water turned on and put the fish back in. All right, so you can look behind me here. We got the water going back in the pond. Now, if you don't get cloudy water, you're not doing something right. Every single time, 100%, of the time, whenever we put new water back in, no matter how much you rinse the gravel, it's always going to get cloudy. Especially whenever you turn on the waterfall filters, the waterfall pump for the first time, it's always going to give you what I call the chocolate milk effect. So it's always going to get kind of cloudy right there. But within 24 hours or so, the filters will take it out. All right, time to get the fish. Who's first? All right, looks like we got a winner. So I was going to point this out real quick if I don't break my butt. So even though we have a pressure washer that blasts directly on this guy, you can still see that there's algae in here. So this is sandstone. So sandstone is porous, so it allows algae to grow inside of it, and it's always going to be stained. It is not going to look like these rocks up top. You can clearly see a difference. This water level sets about right there. And so you can see that guy, even when a pressure washer's, the nozzle is directly on it, it still looks like that. So it's still got a little bit of a tinge to it. But honestly, in a month, this is going to be a uniform sheet of algae all on the rocks again anyway, and you're not even gonna be able to tell we pressure washed it. We just lightly do it to get this thick stuff off. And we got our frog in here that we caught earlier. So let me get this frog here and put it back in the water. There you go. Still cold. All right, so that's it. We're finished up now. We just put all the fish back in. We got one last step to go. So all this debris that's on the surface now, we're gonna go ahead and take that out. And we're still filling this guy up. But the customer is going to have to fill this thing for hours and hours because it's a big pond. So after that, we put in chlorine remover, dechlorinator to take it out, take the chlorine out while it's filling so it's safe for the fish and the frog. And that's about it. So like I said, the filters are going to take out the cloudiness in about 24 hours or so.
Called chochubai, and it comes in two colors. It's the red is the rare one, that's the one that everybody really wants, and it comes in white also. But they're very.
So I don't want to bother these guys behind me, but there's nothing quite like going to somebody's house. It has world-renowned bonsai trees, and then getting a personal tour. So you're not messing around. This thing is not even full yet. Okay.
Cheers.
So since this pond is so far away from the warehouse, I'm not going to be able to show you this thing on full speed, but we do have one pump on. So it's a cool little log accent that I can show you guys, and that's full speed. But the waterfall right now is only at about half speed. But let me flip this thing around and show you the log accents. All right, so that's half speed right there. But we got the koi, we still got to clean all the stuff off the surface. But that's, guys, a little freebie, a little Mystery Falls accent piece. So we're able to find out a log that was already hollowed out. So I was able to tap into the main line and plumb into it from the back just to get it dropping in. But the water level is normally about right there. You can see the algae. So it's a pretty good accent off from the main waterfall area.